Arnold Schwarzenegger risked suspension in 1971 from the IFBB. Evolution of bodybuilding.net looks back at the 1971 Mr. Olympia, and the controversy that almost left Ben and Joe Weider without any athletes to compete. Back in 1971, athletes had to abide by the strict rules of the IFBB, that were put together by both Joe and Ben Weider. The same rules of the IFBB way back in 1971, still apply today, in regards to athletes switching to different federations. In 1971, Arnold Schwarzenegger was preparing to defend his Mr. Olympia, after winning it for the first time in 1970. At the same time, Arnold was also hoping to defend his NABBA Mr. Universe Pro title, leading up to the 1971 Mr. Olympia. Arnold was hoping to defend both his Pro NABBA Mr. Universe title and his Mr. Olympia title. Back in the day, NABBA was the best bodybuilding federation, organizing the prestigious amateur and pro Mr. Universe events. The best bodybuilders to grace the bodybuilding stage during the 60s and 70s competed at NABBA events. Schwarzenegger competed with NABBA and the AAU from 1966 to 1970, having a very successful run, winning all their major titles. Ben and Joe Weider threatened to suspend Arnold Schwarzenegger, leading up to the 1971 Mr. Olympia. Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to defend both his Pro NABBA Mr. Universe title, and win his second consecutive Mr. Olympia title. Arnold Schwarzenegger was very loyal to Joe and Ben Weider, as they were very good to him, helping him financially by giving him a contract, and enormous exposure on all of their printed material. At the time, the Weiders found out that Arnold was preparing to compete both at the 1971 Mr. Olympia, and the 1971 Pro NABBA Universe. During a meeting held by IFBB's executive committee, a decision was made that Arnold would not be happy with. Evolution of bodybuilding.net managed to get copies of the original correspondence between Ben Weider and Arnold Schwarzenegger, with the details of the outcome. The IFBB's letters to Arnold Schwarzenegger, September 1, 1971, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Santa Monica, California. Dear Arnold, at a recent meeting held by the executive committee of the IFBB, I have been authorized to send you the results of the meeting. We hereby put you on notice that if you participate in any non-sanctioned IFBB contest, you will be breaking the constitution of the IFBB. You will therefore be banned from the IFBB, and no longer be permitted to enter any IFBB competitions, or give any exhibitions in any form. I trust that you will act accordingly. Sincerely yours, Mr. Ben Weider, IFBB President. A few days later, Arnold also received a letter from Joe Weider. September 4, 1971, Dear Arnold, under no conditions are you to enter the NABBA events, because this will disqualify you as a IFBB member in good standing, as well as breach of your contract signed by you with our company. I am sure Oscar will understand the ramifications of the situation and will cooperate with you. Best wishes, sincerely, Joe Weider, President Weider International. A few days later, Arnold also received a letter from Joe Weider. September 4, 1971, Dear Arnold, under no conditions are you to enter the NABBA events, because this will disqualify you as a IFBB member in good standing, as well as breach of your contract signed by you with our company. I am sure Oscar will understand the ramifications of the situation and will cooperate with you. Best wishes, sincerely, Joe Weider, President Weider International. After receiving these letters, Arnold was put in a very awkward position, not wanting to destroy his relationship with Oscar Heidenstam, the father of NABBA. Arnold knew he had a contract with the Weiders, and back then, Arnold was not the wealthy man he is today. He had to take care of every bit of income he had coming to him. Thanks to the Weiders, Arnold was paid to be a professional bodybuilder, and at the same time, get worldwide exposure. Arnold had to make a difficult decision, and pull out from the 1971 NABBA Pro Mr. Universe event. Arnold Schwarzenegger's letter to NABBA's Oscar Heidenstam, not wanting to sever his relationship with Oscar Heidenstam. Arnold wrote a letter to him, explaining his situation and his decision. Arnold, being a gentleman, still made sure Oscar would have a very successful event, even though he could not be there. September 7, 1971, Dear Oscar, unfortunately, I am sure you have heard the upsetting news of the change in my plans for competition this year. As I have told you repeatedly, I have definitely been planning to compete in your NABBA Mr. Universe contest. However, it seems that I cannot be in control of my fate after all. As you know, I am under contract with Joe Weider for the next 5 years, a contract which binds me to the IFBB to support this organization, so the IFBB can, in effect, support me. Until now, Joe had not forced me into any decision, claiming the destination of my competition is my own choice, yet, only now at the very last, has Joe pressured by the IFBB to enforce the agreement of our contract, therefore forbidding me to enter anything but an IFBB contest. If I were banned from the IFBB, I would then also be forced to sever my relations with Joe, which would mean a broken contract, and one more jobless, unsuccessful bodybuilder. I have been advised to persuade all other NABBA competitors, such as Ken Waller, Chuck Colleras, and Frank Zane to compete in Paris. However, I have purposely advised them to remain in their decision to compete in London, so that you will still have a fantastic event. I hope that by not competing in your contest, I have not jeopardized our long-lasting friendship. Gratefully, I know you as being more open-minded than the IFBB men, so I feel you will, after all, understand my plight and respect my decision. I have enclosed Chuck's entry blank and also copies of Ben and Joe Weider's letters which should help allow you an understanding of this unhappy situation. Sincerely your friend, Arnold Schwarzenegger. As indicated in Arnold's letter to Oscar, not only did he promise to make his competition a success, but he also referred to Oscar being more open-minded than the IFBB men, allegedly referring to the Weider brothers. With the help of Arnold, the 1971 NABBA Universe event was very successful, while the same could not be said for the 1971 Mr. Olympia. Arnold wins the 1971 Mr. Olympia. Uncontested. A week before the 1971 Mr. Olympia event, the NABBA Mr. Universe event took place, meaning several prominent athletes competed at this prestigious event. The IFBB insisted to their athletes that whoever competed at any other federations will be suspended. The hard stance by the IFBB did not stop the top bodybuilders in the world from competing at the 1971 NABBA Mr. Universe, which took place on September 17, 1971, in London, just a week before the Mr. Olympia. With Arnold allegedly working behind Joe and Ben Weider's back, it was evident that the 1971 NABBA Mr. Universe would be very successful. Focusing on professional events, 11 professional athletes competed at the 1971 Pro Mr. Universe. The lineup included legends such as Sergio Oliva, Frank Zane, Bill Pearl, and Reg Park. Bill Pearl went on to win the 1971 NABBA Pro Mr. Universe title. Frank Zane was declared the winner of the short class. 1971 NABBA Pro Mr. Universe results: overall winner Bill Pearl, tall class, 1 Bill Pearl, 2 Sergio Oliva, 3 Reg Park, 4 John Bubb, 5 Roger Francois. Short class, 1 Frank Zane, 2 Kasim Yazbek, 3 Tony Emmett, 4 Ludwig Ingebretsen, 5 Bill Hemsworth, 6 Warren Langman. The NABBA event would have been historic if Arnold Schwarzenegger had been present to defend his title, but due to his contract obligations with the IFBB, it was not possible. A week later, the 1971 Mr. Olympia was scheduled to take place at the Maison de la Mutualité in Paris, France. The event was promoted by Serge Nubret and Joe Weider. Arnold Schwarzenegger went on to win his second successive Mr. Olympia title, but the problem was that he was uncontested. The 1971 Mr. Olympia was supposed to be a showdown between 4 athletes, which included Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sergio Oliva, Roy Callender, and Franco Columbu. Due to IFBB's hard stance, they suspended Sergio Oliva, as he competed at the 1971 Mr. Universe a week before, while Franco Columbu and Roy Callender were suspended for competing at non-FBB sanctioned events. The Weiders had a problem, with Arnold Schwarzenegger being the only competitor not being suspended. They could not have him walk on stage alone. The Weider brothers decided to let Sergio Oliva and Franco Columbu guest pose, and according to sources, pose with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Even though they were disqualified, the 1971 Mr. Olympia title and the $1,000 cash prize were then handed to Arnold Schwarzenegger. The Weiders would not let the situation repeat itself in 1972, doing everything possible to convince the top athletes to compete with the IFBB. From 1972 onwards, the Mr. Olympia started to grow in popularity, and the number of athletes continued to increase, thanks to the Weider's marketing skills. Through their magazines and products, the IFBB would continue to grow in popularity, establishing itself as the biggest and most prestigious bodybuilding federation to be associated with. NABBA till today still organizes numerous events all over the world, including the Mr. Universe and Mr. World events. Unfortunately, due to IFBB's worldwide dominance, NABBA's popularity has suffered.